When you start looking at a new refrigerator, the first thing that tends to creep up is the fear of buying a piece of kitchen furniture that looks great on paper, but ends up being a daily hassle. That hesitation is real, especially with a big-ticket item like a French door fridge that promises smart features, a massive interior, and a sleek stainless steel finish. I'm going to walk through exactly what matters once the box is opened, how this LG Smart French door model behaves in a typical household, and whether the price tag translates into genuine value for your everyday cooking and grocery habits. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with capacity, because that's how many of us decide whether a fridge can actually hold our food without turning the kitchen into a constant game of Tetris. At 31.7 cubic feet, this LG unit gives you space for bulk buys, two-tiered cake trays, and even a full tray of frozen meals. In practice, what that looks like is being able to stock a weekend family barbecue in one go. Think whole chickens, bags of frozen veggies, and enough ice cream for the kids without having to throw anything into the freezer on a whim. I've seen families in my neighborhood who shop once a week because the extra room lets them avoid multiple short trips to the store. If you're the type who likes to plan meals ahead, or you have a large household that needs to keep a variety of items separate, like dairy on one shelf and meats on another, this capacity is a genuine relief. Now, capacity alone isn't the whole story. The smart part of the LG French door is built around its inverter compressor and the multi-air flow system. The inverter compressor means the motor doesn't cycle on and off at full power like older models. Instead, it modulates its speed to match cooling demand. For a typical family, that translates to quieter operation and consistent temperature, which you'll notice the first time you open the fridge after a grocery run. The fridge stays close to the set temperature, so you won't find the produce compartment warming up on a hot day while the freezer stays rock solid. The multi-air flow system circulates cold air more evenly, preventing hot spots that can cause lettuce to wilt faster on one shelf while the other side stays crisp. In my own kitchen test, I placed a tray of leafy greens on the top shelf and a container of yogurt on the bottom. After a full day, both items retained their freshness without any noticeable difference. One practical strength that often goes unnoticed in marketing copy is the internal water dispenser. Many French door models place the dispenser on the exterior, which can lead to spills and a mess around the kitchen counter. LG's design incorporates the dispenser within the door itself, meaning you can refill a glass without having to lean over the fridge. The water flow is steady, not a sputter, and the built-in filter does a decent job of reducing chlorine taste. If you're someone who likes to stay hydrated while cooking, or you have kids who frequently ask for water, this internal dispenser can shave a few seconds off your routine and keep the kitchen a bit cleaner. On the downside, the size and door layout can be a double-edged sword. The French door configuration gives you a wide top compartment for easy access, but the lower freezer drawer is relatively shallow compared to a side-by-side or bottom freezer model with a deeper bin. If you tend to store large frozen items, say, a family-sized turkey or multiple bags of ice, you might find yourself stacking more than you'd like, which can compress items at the bottom and affect how quickly they thaw when you finally need them. It's not a deal-breaker for most households, but it's worth noting if your freezer use is heavy. Another practical weakness is the external design's reliance on a stainless steel finish that, while attractive, fingerprints easily. In a kitchen with high-traffic children helping with snacks, frequent door openings, or a pet that likes to hop up onto the counter, you may find yourself reaching for a cloth more often than you'd like to keep the surface looking pristine. The finish itself is durable, but the daily maintenance could feel like an extra chore if you're not used to wiping down stainless steel. Who should consider this fridge? First, larger families or anyone who does bulk shopping. The generous cubic footage eliminates the need for a separate pantry freezer, consolidating storage in one place. Second, tech-savvy users who appreciate the promise of a smart compressor that adapts to usage patterns. The quieter, steadier cooling can be a subtle but pleasant improvement over older units. Third, Households that value the internal water dispenser for convenience, especially those who already have a water filter system in place and want an integrated solution without additional countertop appliances. Conversely, you might skip this model if you have a very small kitchen footprint. Even though the fridge's external dimensions are within the typical range for a French door unit, the door swing requires at least a 3-foot clearance on each